The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 14 solar cycles. Our ship, the Void Watcher, was falling apart around us. Life support systems operated at minimal capacity. Hull integrity was compromised in 3 sectors. The primary engine core had gone critical, forcing us to eject it into space and rely on auxiliary power. Worst of all, our navigation system was failing, leaving us drifting through an uncharted sector of the galaxy. I am Kelzar, first officer of the Void Watcher research vessel, and I was certain we were going to die. Any response to our distress call? Captain Rivik asked, her voice hoarse from the recycled air. Engineer Morath shook his head. Nothing, Captain. We're too far from any Galactic Alliance outpost. We belong to the Ardalan species, peaceful researchers from the 8th sector of the Milky Way. The Galactic Alliance, a confederation of the 12 most powerful species in our region of space, had sent us to explore beyond the known boundaries. We weren't prepared for the ion storm that had nearly destroyed our ship. Wait, our communications officer Talia said suddenly. I'm detecting a signal. It's primitive but consistent. Hope fluttered in my chest for the first time in weeks. Can you locate the source? A planetary system about 2 light days from our position. 3rd planet from the star. Captain Rivik straightened her posture, wincing from her injuries. Can we make it there? Morath consulted his failing console. Maybe. If we conserve all remaining power and divert it to propulsion, that would mean shutting down life support, I pointed out. The captain's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, her species equivalent of a resolute nod. We can survive in hibernation pods for that long. It's our only chance. What about the inhabitants, I asked. Are they Alliance members? Talia consulted the database. No record of this system in our archives. Complete unknowns. That was concerning. In the vast galaxy, unknown species were unpredictable. Some were benevolent. Others, well, there was a reason the Alliance had formed in the first place. Protection was often necessary in a dangerous universe. We have no choice, the captain decided. Set course for the 3rd planet and prepare the hibernation pods. Whatever awaits us there, it can't be worse than certain death in the void. I wasn't so sure about that, but I kept my doubts to myself. We emerged from hibernation as the Void Watcher entered the planet's atmosphere. The ship shuddered violently, pieces of the hull breaking away as we descended. Brace for impact, Morath shouted. The crash was less devastating than expected. The planet had a thick atmosphere and lower gravity than our homeworld, which cushioned our landing somewhat. When the dust settled, we took stock of our situation. Ship status? Captain Rivik asked. Beyond repair, Morath replied grimly. We'd need a complete rebuild. Life support? Functioning on emergency power. We have maybe 3 local days before it fails completely. Communications? Talia shook her head. The crash destroyed our transmitter. We can receive signals but not send them. I turned to the external sensors. The atmosphere is breathable for our species. Gravity is manageable. Temperature is within our tolerance range. And the locals? The captain asked. I examined the readings more carefully. Bipedal. Carbon-based. Similar in size to us. Technological level. Difficult to determine. I'm detecting everything from primitive combustion engines to advanced fusion reactions. An uneven development pattern, Rivik mused. That's unusual. Should we try to make contact, I asked? Before she could answer, Talia's console lit up. Captain, I'm detecting multiple vehicles approaching our position. Moving fast. Hostile? Unknown. But they're definitely heading straight for us. The captain stood, adjusting her uniform. Well, First Officer Kelzar, it seems the decision has been made for us. Prepare to meet the natives of this world. Let's hope they're in a helpful mood. The first human I ever saw was a female wearing what I later learned was a hazmat suit. She approached our crashed ship cautiously, hands raised in what we would come to understand was a universal gesture of peace. Hello? She called out in a language our translators couldn't yet decipher. We're here to help. We had sealed the ship, unsure of what to expect. Through the viewports, we could see dozens of vehicles surrounding us. Some were clearly military in nature, with mounted weapons and armored exteriors. Others appeared medical or scientific. They're not attacking, Talia observed. Yet, Morath added, Captain Rivik made her decision. Open the main airlock. Kelzar, you're with me. Everyone else remain on standby. The airlock hissed as it cycled open, revealing the bright sunlight of this alien world. I followed the captain down the ramp, both of us wearing our environmental suits as a precaution. The human female approached, removing her helmet. Her skin was brown, her hair black, and pulled tight against her skull. She smiled, showing teeth, not a threat display as in some species, but an expression of welcome. I am Doctor. Sophia Patel, she said, the words meaningless to us until our translators began to analyze the language patterns. Captain Rivek responded in our language. I am Captain Rivek of the research vessel Voidwatcher. We come in peace and require assistance. The human female doctor, Patel, nodded encouragingly, though she couldn't understand us yet. She gestured to her companions who brought forward a device. They typed something, and soon a mechanical voice spoke in several languages. After several attempts, our translators and their device found enough common mathematical and linguistic principles to establish basic communication. You are safe, the mechanical voice translated. We will help you. Captain Rivik and I exchanged glances. In our experience, help always came with conditions. Our ship is damaged beyond repair, the captain said carefully. We need significant resources to return home. Doctor, Patel nodded as the translation came through. She spoke again, the mechanical voice rendering her words. We will provide whatever assistance you need. No conditions. You are guests on Earth. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No conditions? What do you want from us? The woman's expression changed, showing what I would later learn was confusion. Want nothing. You are in trouble. We help. This is what humans do. The next few local days, which they called hours and days on their world, were a whirlwind of activity. The humans established a secure perimeter around our ship, not to contain us, but to protect us from what they called media attention. They brought medics who, once they understood our biology, treated our injuries with surprising skill. They brought engineers who worked alongside Morath to stabilize our ship's systems. They brought scientists and linguists who helped refine our translation capabilities. And most surprisingly, they brought food. Actual fresh food, analyzed for compatibility with our digestive systems and prepared with care. I don't understand, I said to Dr. Patel as we sat in a temporary structure they had erected beside our ship. Why are you helping us like this? She considered the question carefully. Throughout our history, humans have often failed to help each other. We fought wars, discriminated against those who were different, hoarded resources. These mistakes nearly destroyed us many times. Our translators were now sophisticated enough to capture nuance, and I detected genuine regret in her voice. But we learned, she continued. We learned that survival is not about domination, but about resilience and cooperation. When we finally developed space travel, we made a collective decision we would not repeat our mistakes among the stars. But surely you want something from us. Technology? Knowledge? Dr. Patel smiled. Of course we would welcome sharing knowledge. But that is not a condition of our help. If you choose to share nothing with us, we will still assist you. I found this difficult to believe. In the Galactic Alliance, everything was transactional. Resources, technology, protection, all carefully negotiated and balanced. Perhaps I should show you, she said, seeing my skepticism. Would you and your crew like to visit our city? It might help you understand. Captain Rivek, who had been listening nearby, nodded. We would be honored. If you can guarantee our safety. We can, Dr. Patel assured us. And you'll be free to return to your ship at any time. The human city was unlike anything I had ever seen. Where Alliance architecture emphasized uniformity and efficiency, human buildings were wildly diverse in form and function. Some reached high into the sky, others spread wide across the ground. Some were ancient, made of stone and wood, while others were constructed from materials even our advanced scanners couldn't immediately identify. This is New Delhi, Dr. Patel explained as our transport moved through the crowded streets. One of Earth's largest cities. People stopped to stare at our vehicle, some pointing and taking images with small devices. But none approached or threatened us. Your species seems quite varied, Captain Rivik observed, noting the different skin tone, sizes, and features of the humans we passed. Yes, we evolved across different regions of our planet, adapting to different environments. We once thought these differences meaningful, even fought wars over them. Now we understand they are simply different expressions of the same humanity. Our first stop was what they called a museum, a repository of knowledge and artifacts. But unlike the historical archives of Alliance worlds, which glorified conquests and technological achievements, this museum documented human failures. This is the Museum of Historical Mistakes, Dr. Patel explained. Every major city has one. They remind us of the paths we must never take again. We walk through halls documenting wars, genocides, environmental destruction, exploitation. The displays were unflinching, presenting the darkest chapters of human history without justification or excuse. Why would you preserve these memories, Ishmorath asked, genuinely perplexed. On our worlds, such shameful periods would be erased from official records. A new human joined us, an older male with pale skin and gray hair. Because forgetting leads to repetition, he said. I'm Professor Alan Nakamura, historian. Welcome to Earth. He guided us to a section showing more recent history. 200 years ago, we nearly destroyed ourselves and our planet. Climate collapse, resource wars, technological pandemics. We stood at the precipice of extinction. The images were haunting cities underwater, forests burning, people fighting over basic necessities. What saved you? Talia asked quietly. Cooperation, Professor Nakamura said simply. Not immediately and not easily. But eventually we realized that our survival depended not on which human group dominated others, but on all humans working together. He led us to the final exhibition hall, which showed the recovery global reforestation projects, atmospheric cleansing initiatives, international food security programs, and finally their first steps into space. When we reached for the stars, Dr. Patel continued, we did so with a promise to never bring our worst tendencies into the cosmos. I was beginning to understand, but something still troubled me. This is admirable, but surely not all humans share this perspective. In any species, there are those who seek power and advantage. Professor Nakamura nodded gravely. Of course, we are not perfect, nor will we ever be. But we've developed social and governance systems that check our worst impulses and reward our best ones. Our next stop was even more surprising, their technology center. Here, humans openly showed us their most advanced developments. Not their weapons, those were conspicuously absent, but their medical technology, energy systems, environmental management tools, and most impressively, their space propulsion research. This is our latest engine prototype, explained Dr. Kenji Zhang, their lead engineer. It utilizes quantum vacuum fluctuations to generate propulsion without traditional fuel. We've achieved near-light speeds in unmanned tests. Morass studied the schematics they displayed without hesitation. This is remarkably similar to our auxiliary drive system, but you've solved the quantum decoherence problem we've struggled with. Doctor, Zhang's eyes widened with interest. Really? We'd love to compare notes if you're willing. I interrupted before Morath could continue. You realize you're sharing technology that could be worth incalculable value in trade negotiations? Technology that could even be used against you if we were hostile? The human engineers exchanged glances. One of them, a young female with dark skin, laughed. That's a perspective we don't often consider anymore. Knowledge isn't meant to be hoarded, but shared and improved upon collectively. But what about protection, security? I pressed. Doctor, Zhang shrugged. Our best security is building positive relationships. Has it occurred to you that by helping you without conditions, we're creating the strongest possible incentive for you to become our allies rather than our enemies? I had to admit it hadn't. The final revelation came when we returned to our ship. A massive operation was underway. Dozens of vehicles had arrived, carrying materials and equipment. Hundreds of humans worked alongside sophisticated robots. What is happening? Captain Rivek demanded. Dr. Patel beamed proudly. We're repairing your ship. Actually, rebuilding it would be more accurate. We stood in shock as humans swarmed over and around the Void Watcher, removing damaged components and installing new ones. They had somehow reverse-engineered our technology from the wreckage, and were not only replacing what was broken, but improving it. How is this possible? Talia whispered. We've only been away for a few hours. We can be quite efficient when motivated, Professor Nakamura said with a slight smile, especially when it involves helping others. Captain Rivek turned to Dr. Patel, her posture rigid with suspicion. Now I must ask directly, what do you want in return for this generosity? Dr. Patel's expression grew serious. Captain Rivek, we understand your skepticism. In your place, I would feel the same. So let me be clear about what we hope for, not demand, but hope for. She gestured around at the bustling activity. First, we hope you'll tell others about us, about how we treated you. Second, we hope that when you return to your alliance, you'll consider opening diplomatic relations with Earth. And third, we hope that someday, when you encounter someone else in need, you'll remember this moment and extend the same kindness. That's all? I asked incredulously. That's all, she confirmed. Though we would also be delighted if you'd share stories about your worlds and cultures during the remaining days while your ship is being repaired. Cultural exchange is always valuable. Over the next local week, as the humans worked tirelessly to rebuild our ship, we learned more about them. They were young as a spacefaring species, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 30 years earlier. They had encountered few other intelligent species, none as advanced as themselves, and none belonging to any galactic coalition like our alliance. You are fortunate, I told Professor Nakamura one evening as we shared a meal. The galaxy can be a dangerous place. Many species would view your isolation and relative technological immaturity as an opportunity for conquest or exploitation. We're aware of the possibility, he acknowledged, but we choose to approach first contact with optimism rather than fear. A risky strategy, perhaps, but living in fear is its own kind of prison, isn't it? I couldn't argue with that. The Alliance worlds, for all their advanced technology and military might, lived in constant anxiety about threats both within and without. It was exhausting, and it shaped every aspect of our societies. Your approach is refreshing, I admitted, but I wonder if it's sustainable when you encounter more aggressive species. The professor considered this. We're not naive, First Officer Kelzar. We have defenses. But we've found that most intelligent beings respond to genuine kindness with kindness of their own. And those who don't, those who would harm others despite being shown compassion are surprisingly rare in our experience. But we protect ourselves when necessary, just without letting the possibility of danger define us. On our final day on Earth, as we prepared to depart in our fully restored and significantly upgraded ship, representatives from various human nations gathered to bid us farewell. We've installed a long-range communication array, Dr. Jucheng explained. You can contact Earth from anywhere in the galaxy should you need assistance again. And we've uploaded our cultural and historical archives to your database, Professor Nakamura added, so you can learn more about us, if you wish. Captain Rivik, who had remained cautious throughout our stay, finally relaxed her guard. Humans of Earth, we came to you broken and helpless, expecting little. You have shown us not just technological prowess, but a wisdom that, I must admit, is rare in the galaxy. The Ardalan people and I thank you. A human female stepped forward, their global leader, we were told. Captain Rivik, Officer Kelzar, and crew of the Void Watcher go in peace. Remember Earth as a place where all peaceful travelers are welcome. We ask only that you judge us by our actions, not by the standards of others you may encounter among the stars. As we boarded our ship, Dr. Patel handed me a small device. A personal gift from Parivit, she said. It contains music, art, and literature from Earth's many cultures. I thought you might enjoy them on your journey home. I was touched by the gesture. Thank you, Dr. Patel. I have nothing to offer in return. She smiled. Your friendship is more than enough. The journey back to Alliance space took 50 days at our new enhanced speed. We used the time to study the humans' cultural archives and to debate what we would tell the Alliance Council. They're unlike any species we've encountered, Talia said during one of our discussions. They don't fit into any of the Alliance classification categories. Their technology is impressive, despite their youth, Morath added, especially their approach to quantum physics and biotechnology. But it's their social structure that's truly revolutionary, Captain Rivik observed. A cooperation-based system rather than a dominance hierarchy. It's almost as if they've engineered their own society. I had been quieter than usual, lost in thought. The question is how the Alliance will respond. Human philosophy challenges the very foundation of Alliance power structures. You think they'll see humanity as a threat? Talia asked. Not militarily. Not yet. But ideologically, absolutely. I brought up a star chart. Earth sits on the border of 3 major territorial disputes. If word spreads about a species that offers assistance without demanding subjugation or tribute, the implication hung in the air. The Alliance maintained control partly through fear and dependency. Weaker species needed Alliance protection and technology, which came at steep prices. What would happen if an alternative emerged? Perhaps, Captain Breivik said thoughtfully. That is precisely why we crashed on Earth. Not by random chance, but because the galaxy needed a new perspective. When we reached Alliance space, we were immediately escorted to the Council homeworld. News of our encounter with an unknown species had spread quickly, and the 12 Council representatives were eager for our report. The Council chamber was imposing, designed to intimidate. The representatives sat elevated above us, their faces hidden in shadow. Captain Rivik of the Void Watcher, the Zolarian representative began. We understand you claim to have discovered a new spacefaring species, one that assisted you when your ship was damaged. That is correct, Counselor, Rivik replied confidently. And these, humans, they repaired your vessel without demanding payment or concessions? They did more than repair it. They improved it, provided us with cultural and scientific knowledge, and requested nothing except the possibility of future diplomatic relations. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Vexillian representative leaned forward. You expect us to believe a species would expend significant resources with no immediate benefit? That defies all galactic economic principles. I stepped forward. With respect, counselor, perhaps our principles are incomplete. The humans operate from a different foundational philosophy. They believe that by freely offering assistance, they create relationships that ultimately provide greater security and prosperity than any transaction could. Naive idealism, dismissed the Krath representative. How advanced is their military technology? Captain Rubak answered carefully. They showed us no weapon systems, but their grasp of quantum mechanics, biotechnology, and propulsion is impressive for such a young species. And their location? The Dravid counselor demanded. Here we had made our decision during the journey home. Captain Rivik looked the counselor directly in the eyes. I am withholding that information for now, counselor, until we establish proper diplomatic protocols for contact. The chamber erupted in outrage. The Zolarian slammed his appendage on the table. You dare defy the council? We could have you imprisoned for such insubordination. You could, Rivik agreed calmly. But before you make that decision, I should inform you that we have transmitted our full report, including Earth's coordinates, to trusted individuals throughout Alliance space. If we do not return to update our status regularly, that information will be made public to all species, not just the Council. Clever, brave, Revik. We had indeed created such a failsafe, though I had argued against it, fearing Council retribution. The Taraxi representative, known for her more moderate views, raised a hand for silence. Captain Rivak, surely you understand our concern. If what you say is true, these humans represent a significant unknown variable in galactic politics. I understand completely, Counselor, but I have seen Earth and its people firsthand. They seek friendship, not domination. They offer a new way of thinking about interspecies relations, one based on mutual aid rather than mutual suspicion. The Council withdrew to deliberate. We waited for hours, uncertain of our fate. When they returned, the Taraxi spoke for the group. We have decided to establish a preliminary diplomatic mission to Earth. Captain Rivik, you and your crew will lead this mission, as you have already established rapport with the humans. The Zolarian added coldly, but know this: should these humans prove to be a threat to Alliance stability, the consequences will be severe for them and for you. As we departed the Council world, I joined Captain Rivik on the observation deck. The stars stretched out before us, countless worlds, each with their own stories. Do you think we did the right thing? I asked her. The Council is frightened of what humanity represents. Good, she replied firmly. Fear can lead to caution. And right now, caution is what Earth needs. Time to establish itself before the more aggressive Council species consider intervention. But what about the excluded species? The ones outside the Alliance who might learn of Earth's generosity? They might see humans as potential allies against the Council. Rivek turned to me, all four eyes focused intently. Exactly, First Officer Kelzer. That is precisely what I'm counting on. I was shocked. You want to destabilize the Alliance? I want to transform it, she corrected. For too long, the Council has maintained power through fear and resource control. Humanity offers a different model, one where cooperation and mutual aid create security. That's idealistic, I cautioned. The galaxy is harsh. Perhaps, Hunshi acknowledged. But the humans have something special, Kelzar. Something rare. They've experienced the worst of their nature and consciously chosen a different path. They've created social systems that reward generosity over exploitation. And they've done what no Alliance species has managed, turned away from dominance as a primary survival strategy. I thought about the Museum of Historical Mistakes, about the naked honesty with which humans confronted their past failures. You truly believe they can change things? Rivek gazed out at the stars. I believe they already have, at least for us. She was right. Our encounter with humanity had transformed our perspective irreversibly, and soon we would be returning to Earth as official Alliance representatives. The first step in what promised to be an unprecedented relationship. As our ship accelerated to light speed, I thought about Dr. Patel's parting gift. I had been exploring the collection of human art and literature during our journey. One quote from an ancient human philosopher had particularly resonated with me. Be the change you wish to see in the galaxy. Well, that wasn't exactly how they had phrased it, but it captured the essence of what humanity offered to the stars, not just technology or resources, but a fundamentally different vision of what was possible when intelligence evolved beyond fear. The Void Watcher surged forward, carrying us back toward Earth in an uncertain, hopeful future.